I want the person that I'm with to be as successful as possible. I'm gonna put it all on the line. You know, like if we're together, like I'm gonna go to bat for you in the highest form possible. And is that gonna be the best outcome all the time? Probably not, but I wouldn't have that shit any other way. So like if you're with me, like I'm taking you out to as many events as I can, introducing you to all the people I know, putting you on game and whatever the fuck you're working on. And I'm gonna get burned from that, sure, but like I love that shit. You know what I mean? Like I get a lot out of like watching someone elevate in their life and their career. And even if it sets me down a few notches because it doesn't work out, it's like, that's life. You know, every relationship I've in has gotten progressively better. And like, I know I'm building towards something that's so beautiful and special that like, I would not change a single thing.
Welcome back to The Observation. We are at NFT NYC, and today I have a very special guest, Turley, who is the founder of Coop Records. And he is kind of just having his tell-all moment on the show today. I'm excited to chat with him. But before we dive into the podcast, I want to shout out to our sponsors, Cash App. The Observation is powered by Cash App. When personal finance meets your funds and the stuff that matters, that's money, that's Cash App. Download the app, buy Bitcoin, not financial advice. All right, Coop, welcome.
What's going on, Ops? How are you feeling?
I feel good because I'm super pumped about this interview because it's not anything that you've done before.
That's correct.
Yeah. You're going to talk about a few things. You're obviously known for being a crypto influencer in the Web3 space. Do you like that title?
Who would have guessed? You know, it's definitely not something I sought out to be known for, but
all the headlines have you as crypto influencer Coop Turley. Like That's the first 4 words of every article about you.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely been an interesting journey because I never asked to be an influencer. You know what I mean? I was just like active in the space and happened to be able to guess a couple things right. And then all of a sudden that's like your professional tagline, which has been an interesting thing to brand around. But I mean, you're in a very similar spot as me where I feel like that's something that we get known for a lot. And I don't really know how to feel about it, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah, it does get thrust upon. Well, I guess the bull market was just, it's so hard to explain once you're out of it because when you're in it, it's an insane place to be.
Yeah.
And the growth on Twitter was nuts for everybody.
Right.
Like you were putting tweets out that was just like GM and it was like thousands and thousands of likes.
It's very powerful. I will say that I think it takes someone recognizing that they believe in themselves to almost be an influencer in a sense, you know? You kind of have to like put your hand up and say like, hey, I'm willing to be identified as an influencer to actually be one in a lot of ways. So there's power that comes with it for sure. I think it's just about figuring out how to navigate everything else that comes with it. And I think we're going to talk about that in this episode, but yeah, quite a lot of thoughts there.
Yeah. So you have how many followers on Twitter?
I'd say like around 150, 160K at this point.
Yeah. And it was almost like for people who don't know and are like listening to this audibly and don't have a background, like Coop is definitely one of the largest like NFT collectors. Like everyone knows and knew you, especially during this last bull. And it felt like almost when you, like a very Icarus moment, like when you get too close to the sun, there's so much attention on you. And all of a sudden people are almost rooting for you to have like a failure.
Right.
Or almost trying to find it actually.
Exactly.
And you were canceled.
That's right.
Yeah. I mean, you're not technically canceled, I guess, if you're on the show, but you were canceled and people found some old tweets of yours from 2013.
That's right.
Yeah. And how did that feel? Like, were you expecting that? Did someone tell you? What was the feeling?
Let's take it back to kind of the backstory of it. So at that point in time, peak bull market, right? I'm working 10, 12 hours a day. I'm sort of promoting that I'm really passionate about my work and about my job. And I'm kind of starting to tweet stuff like, you know, what you do past the hours of 8 p.m. determines how bad you want to win, right? And this is just me speaking from my personal experience. We're all on our soapbox here, having a good time, making a lot of money. And that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. And I can understand why. You know, there's people that
rub people the wrong way because you were like, if you're not grinding your fucking ass off, then you're not doing anything.
Exactly.
Yeah. And people got pissed about that.
Yeah. And I think that was one of the larger catalysts around, you know, me just really being forward about saying how much I loved working and feeling passionate about the work that I was doing. And I think for a lot of people that haven't found purpose in their life, it's difficult to hear because like for most people, work is not something that you enjoy. It's something that you do. I've never worked on anything that I haven't enjoyed before. And then you couple that with the fact that what you enjoy working on is also making you a lot of money. And it's kind of this like very, you know, you feel like in a really powerful position. You know what I mean? And I think I got a little bit too ahead of myself and was tweeting about that mindset and that energy too much. And I think there started to build this camp of people that was just like, yo, like this guy is not it.
This guy has to go.
This guy has to go.
But also you're pretty young.
Yeah.
And to find success, I think anyone would be envious of seen someone find enjoyment in work, their passion, and meanwhile making a shit ton of money during a bull market.
Yeah, but I think this is interesting because to me, finding success, you could say that I made money off crypto, but like I feel like I haven't built anything meaningful yet. You know, like I don't have like a strong company dynamic around me. I do have a semblance of one now, but it's not like I have like a 50-person organization. It's not like I'm building product that's affecting millions of people in the world. When I think of success, I think about the impact that you have on the world by the tools that you build. And at that specific point in time, my success, quote unquote, was that I bought a CryptoPunk for $100 and sold it for a lot more money. Or like, you know, I happened to buy some DeFi tokens that went up. But like what does success really mean? You know, and I think in the public eye was basically like, did this person's public wallet end up making a lot of ETH? And it's like, yeah, but if you were just there paying attention, it was kind of hard not to.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess I really just like, it was an interesting time for that to happen to me because I was very excited about everything that was happening. To your point, we're going to all these conferences, the vibes were high, energy was great. But I'm like, I don't think I'm successful because I like made some money trading crypto. It's like I have a ton of career ambitions and I still do. And I think getting into the cancellation, I think the hardest part for me has been people still bring this up. You know what I mean? Like there's been times in recent months where like I'll be asked to join a Twitter space and then someone will reach out to me on the side and be like, hey, we actually can't do this Twitter space because someone on our compliance team found your tweets from 2014. And they don't feel comfortable having you on the space anymore. And I'm like, yo, like, A, you don't know me. B, this is like something that happened so long ago. And C, you asked me to be on the Twitter space. I didn't
you guys didn't do your due diligence on my career.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember. So you're building this massive following for being opinionated, right?
But let's zoom in on that a little bit more. I think what I did well at that point in time is that I was very direct about the areas that were making people money. That's something that I've been doing for pretty much my whole career. It's like when I joined the space in 2017, it was ICOs. So I was knowing what ICOs to go and trade.
And how
old
were you in 2017?
I was probably like 21, 22 coming out of college.
Okay.
Yeah. And I was just like, yo, ICOs are hot. I'm going to figure out which ICOs specifically are hot and then like talk about it. Yeah. And at that point in time, I was like, most of these ICOs are scams. Most of these people suck. So let's figure out where the real people are. Started going to developer conferences, started writing for DeFi blogs. At this point in time, it was very obvious to me that there was much more of a market to be tapped into. And so same thing, it was like, which DeFi tokens are hot? Let's report about it. Let's write about it. DAOs started coming around, same thing. NFTs came around, same thing. At the end of the day, if you think about it, it's just like, just listen to what people are paying attention to, but then be able to digest and say that back in a way that people can understand. And I think that's something that I got really good at, was taking these complicated topics and just making them very simple to be like, put your money here or talk about this or spend your time in this way. And I think I kind of found a way to vocalize like the people's mission of like, I have $1,000 in my bank account and I have no like idea where my career is going to go. So maybe crypto can kind of be my saving grace. And I think that kind of lined up really well with specifically the NFT bull market when all of this started to happen.
But what do you think makes you different than other people? Because there was a lot of people, pseudo influencers or people promoting different things. And you, I think it's not even success. I don't even really know what the right word for it is, but why someone follows someone is really interesting. And like speaking a truth or having an opinion that's different. Like, what do you think makes Cooper and made you have this gain? Because everyone was trying to do that in some ways, but you see things early, as many people do who are guests on this show, and are able to like pinpoint that. Is that just like effort? Is it, what would you say it is?
I think it's an ability to identify culture. And I think it goes a lot into why I'm so passionate about music now specifically. But even beyond that, I think it's about reputation and credibility. And what I mean by that is being in the space since 2017, you see the people who are here for a very long time. And you see the people who just come in to ride a wave. And when it started to be a moment in time around NFTs, it wasn't only me saying, hey, go and buy CryptoPunks. It was me actually being able to engage with the other people who are buying CryptoPunks that have been in the space for 2, 3, 4 years. You know, we've worked on DeFi projects together. We've traveled to developer conferences in Osaka and all these places in Europe. And when it comes to being able to trust someone in the space, you know, I think that like followed by piece really, really matters. And if, you know, giving myself some credit here, if you look at my followed by on Twitter, it's like, I've been out here in these streets for a long time. I'm going to be out here for a lot longer in the future. And like, you know, I meet people in LA and they're like, oh, you're into NFTs. And like, that's something that people are like, you know, and they'll like look at my Twitter and they'll never met me before. And like, holy shit, like this person follows, they just keep going. And so I think it's like, and I'm just like, yeah, those are just my homies. You know, you've just been around for a while. So I think that's kind of it. Just like being in the right spot at the right time, but then also having the trust and the respect of other people who are also doing extremely well too.
Yeah. So you grew all this like credibility, and then did you know that you were going to get canceled? Did anyone tip you off? Like, how did it come to your awareness that old tweets had surfaced?
I think that leading up to it, I had some people reach out and just be like, hey, you might want to be a little bit careful about the way that you're talking recently. It's starting to like trigger people and rile them up a bit. I didn't really care.
Interesting.
Yeah, at that point.
On your normal tweets?
On tweets similar to the one that kind of provoked the whole situation about like, working hard, working late, prioritizing your career, etc.
I remember this tweet, I think. What did it exactly say? And people kind of mocked it, right?
Yeah. It was what I said earlier. I said, what you do past the hours of 8 p.m. shows how badly you want to win. And
people were like, fuck you for that?
Yeah. They're like, this is too far. And then it was like, quote retweets, and then just like open the floodgates. And then I remember I woke up that morning, everyone's like, are you okay? Are you okay? Like, what's going on? I'm like, what is going on? And I basically just opened my Twitter and I'm just getting like flooded with a million things and people being like reaching out and be like, yo, I'm here for you to support and all this stuff. And I was like, support with what? Like, it was just like a Tuesday. It was like nothing had happened.
Yeah.
And that's when it got really interesting though, because I started to really see like who was on my side, who was kind of waiting to pass judgment, and who was just not on my team entirely.
Totally.
And I think that basically the most immediate next steps were that there were organizations that were starting to make statements and opinions based on my involvement with them. Because I'm very deeply rooted in a ton of communities in Web3. At that point in time, I was an investor, advisor, contributor to maybe like 25 DAOs at the time. And you would start to see like these random DAOs that I had put out like one governance proposal for like 2 years ago be like, we are reviewing this situation with a specific individual in our community. And I'm just like, bro, like I haven't talked to you guys in months. Like this is a whole thing. And then there's just like all these internal processes about the organizations that I was more deeply rooted in. And I mean, this is when me and you started talking about it, but I was like, yo, like I felt kind of in this box where I wasn't allowed to speak my mind honestly because everyone had an opinion of how I should handle the situation. And so I kind of felt powerless for a couple of days there because I was just like waiting for like people who I respected the most from my profession and my career to give me advice on how to handle this. And there was like PR teams that were brought in to help me like draft a statement and all this stuff. And I'd never done that before. It's not something that I had ever prepared for, not something that I wanted to think about doing, and I feel like I wasn't really able to just like go out and just like talk in the way that I'd been talking before because there was like a quote unquote process to it. But that process definitely felt really strange to me because it was just like sit back and watch everyone just attack you and then wait to make a statement that feels like it's the right thing to do based on like what the world would tell you and have that somehow translate your voice through it. Despite the fact that, let's like get down to the basics here. I don't find myself to be a racist. I don't find myself to be a homophobe. I've had Black friends my entire life. I've had gay, transgender, and queer friends my entire life. I still do. I work with these people every single day. And it's like these tweets from 2014 surfaced and portrayed an image of me from when I was in high school before I even knew how the world worked, as if this is who I was today. And so when I started to get attacked for my beliefs about something that didn't represent who I was today, it was really challenging to me because you have all these people question your character and question your ethics and how you move in the world. And you know me personally, it's like I give everyone the time of day, down to like someone that I meet off the street to like the highest CEO, and I don't try and discriminate or take anyone for granted. And so I think when people come at you and they say that you are a certain way without having ever talked to you, that really just like hit on like a very deep level that made me just feel so sad. I think sad is the word that I would use because I lead with love in so many aspects of my life, and have people come at you and want to take you down and say that you are something that you know that you are not. It makes it very challenging to operate authentically. And I think the most challenging part for me was actually not the opinions people had of me. It's the internet. Everyone's gonna have an opinion of you. There's absolutely nothing you can do about that. Don't read the comments. If you do read the comments, know you're gonna get a shitstorm for it. We all know this. But I think what was more difficult was when I started to go on Zoom calls the next couple of weeks I'm on Zoom calls 10 times a day, 12 times a day, 5-7 days a week, talking to a million people, every single person. What's going on, man? What's the reality with this situation? Blah, blah, blah. How are you dealing with it? And it was just like clockwork. Me having to be like, oh, I'm so sorry for my actions, all this kind of stuff. And it was like, it was wild. I felt like I was on like a movie script or something. You know what I mean?
But did you feel sorry? Did you know these tweets existed, right? So there were several racist and homophobic tweets that were like labeled as those things,
right?
Saying the N-word, and then I don't know what the homophobic tweet said. I did see some of the ones saying the N-word. Mm-hmm. Did you feel in the moment that people had a right to be upset with you?
Being very open and vulnerable here, in the moment, I did not understand that. because I've never been in a position that I've felt what these people are feeling, but it was through this process that I actually started to learn more about what that was like and understanding why people felt that way. So I started going to workshops and classes with people in these communities to help me understand their point of view, you know, and I think it really opened my eyes in a way that I hadn't felt before. You know, I live in a very privileged world. You know, I'm from a great family. I'm from a great upbringing. My family does well for themselves. They've always supported me. And I'm not too familiar with sort of the discrimination in the world because I've never experienced it myself. And it wasn't until after that happened that I could sit with people in these communities to be like, yo, this is like what happens. You know what I mean? And like, this is real. And like, this is stuff that we have to feel. And so I'd say after the fact, I started to understand it a lot more. In the moment, it was hard for me to rationalize it because none of my tweets were ever said with like ill intent. You know what I mean? It was just like fun slang to say at the time, if I'm being really open and honest about it. And I think that the world has changed a lot since that happened. And I think I had to then go from a point of view of like, okay, here's what a kid who was 14 on Xbox playing Call of Duty was saying versus like, here's a professional in the world that wants to make a statement and an impact in many different career industries and has to be responsible for the lives and, you know, living salaries of these people.
Yeah.
And those are two very different things. But I will say that the situation as a whole, it's opened up so many new relationships for me, and it's allowed me to think about how to empower different communities a lot more. And so I'm actually very thankful that it happened in hindsight. And I do think that it's a part of my wider journey. I wouldn't wish it upon anyone. I think it's absolutely terrible as a situation to get canceled on the internet, but you're always in control, you know? And I think that if you feel strongly enough about what you're doing and your purpose in the world, you can always crawl back out of it. And despite the fact that that was probably the most challenging, you know, month period of my life, let's call it, I do believe that it made me a bigger, better person. And I feel more equipped and aware to deal with these situations in the future that I'm honestly thankful that it happened because I don't think I'd be where I am today if it hadn't happened in the first place.
Yeah, it's interesting too because I remember you called me, or no, I don't know how maybe we were just texting about it the day that it happened and trying to kind of figure it out because obviously I've done comms in my career and done crisis comms and was trying to like help consult. You had PR teams and stuff already working that too. But something we were kind of talking about, and like I could just speak to this personally, is the person that I was in 2013 is not the person I am in 2023. Like just very different naturally. And even the way that society was back when I was in high school, we would say like the R word, which you wouldn't say now. And like you would say like gay as like a slur. Like people would say that all the time. And it was not, and it was very common. And I think people try to pretend like that wasn't a thing, but it very much was a thing.
Yeah.
And it's like then society corrects itself. But if you have a trail of that online, then people just never forget. Right. And even I would say to the extent of like saying the N-word in like rap songs, like I didn't sing it, but like a lot of my friends I went to school with, white kids, would sing that part of the songs. Yeah. And like that's a very controversial thing, and it's like an uncomfortable conversation even to have with anybody because no one even wants to have the conversation about it. But I think it's interesting too of just we don't allow people to evolve past their older selves. Like that's almost always you. Right. So people see you in 2013 and 2014 as you in the current time and want you to like basically atone for that. Like I don't, you know, I understand it. Like I see all sides to it, but it doesn't feel like it's ever answered. Like your apology, did you feel like it was well received? Like what did you end up finally saying? Like how did that feel?
Well, I'll start off by saying that I definitely don't deserve any sort of hall pass. And those were my actions and my words that I said at the time. And I think to your point, you know, it's like we are not our older selves, but we were that person at some point in time. And so I definitely take a lot of responsibility for that. Again, I'll use the word privilege because that was the time and place that I was in. And I remember tweeting those things and not thinking anything of it. You know, did I think that I was going to have a future where I had a career as a crypto influencer that had like a large audience around him when I was tweeting from my high school account? You know, like absolutely not. But with that being said, I would say that it's important to be cautious about what you put on the internet because this is only going to get more real over time, you know, like especially with like the permanence of where things are going. And I will say that the one thing that was good about my cancellation is that I think that there are a lot of other people that were able to go and check
their Twitter advanced search?
Yeah, their Twitter and their Facebook from those time periods. And in a lot of ways, I think I may have saved some other people from similar situations. But to your question about what was said and how it was received, It was really well crafted. I mean, I had an incredible team helping me out. We must have done 10, 15 drafts of this thing. I must have gotten feedback from like 20, 25 people that I really well respected. You know, there was like a timeline for it. There was sort of this, you know, process of me putting out this statement and then intentionally being quiet. You know, the statement itself was really well received. I think that there was a lot of positive support in the comments. And then beyond that, I basically didn't talk on Twitter for 2 weeks. And all I did was just buy people's NFTs. And I was like, yo, I'm not going to like speak with my words. I'm going to show with my actions. And so I was going and supporting creators, picking up their NFTs. I was behind the scenes going and doing these, we'll call it like rehabilitation workshops, but basically just like learning about the culture and the prejudice and the, you know, systems that have been developed that kind of allowed people to feel the way that they felt in the first place. And so it was a process and it's never going to be finished. But I do think that if I'm speaking honestly about where I'm at today, I think that a lot of the people who are most affected by that have gotten a chance to sit down and talk to me and get to know me have actually gotten to a really good place with me. And I'm now doing a lot of work with the same people who may have been affected or hurt by that in the first place. And I think that a lot of those people would have my back today because they know that I'm always going to show up for the people that I support and believe in. And that has nothing to do with color, ethnicity, background. If you're here to do great work and you're passionate about what you're doing, I'm going to be there to support you every single day. And that's just a fact. That's not something that you can dispute. And so it's a great place to be moving forward from here.
So why do you think you even just said it in the first place? Like, I know you're a totally different person now, but you think that was just like, I think people just want to know like why, because it's easier to throw like Cooper is a racist because he said this before.
Yeah.
Do you feel like, just going back to that last question of your older self, why do you feel like you said it?
I don't think there was much thought put into it. I think it was just like you're in a circle with your friends in high school that are all saying it every single day and you don't really think anything about it. It's to be cool. Honestly, it's to be cool. It's like I was playing basketball at that time. I was in AAU. I was playing Call of Duty with my friends every night. I was going out to like high school parties and whatnot. And that was just that was literally just what it was at the time. You know what I mean? And like, honestly, if I'm being direct, like, I don't know if I care about being cool, but I know what makes people cool, if that makes sense, you know? And so you just kind of learn how to like bob and weave with it a little bit. And that was kind of like what the vibe was at the time. And even now with like the way that I operate within like crypto and Web3, we talk about being an influencer, you know, it's like being able to recognize trends and how to like capture that. It's like, that's something that I'm actually really good at. And so I don't think I knew what I was doing at the time, but I think I was just trying to fit in, and I was fitting in. You know, I had a ton of friends in high school, had a really amazing childhood, had a really amazing supportive friends, had a great athletic career, and, you know, very happy about everything that happened, that I don't think I was being conscious enough of some of the things that happened outside of my most immediate sphere of influence. I think that I was only thinking about myself within my existing situation. I did not take into account the vastness of the world, which is not something that, in my opinion, I didn't learn until later in life because I just didn't even know that it existed in the first place.
So for people who are now online, and I feel like everyone, there was a generation, like at least in my lifetime, there was a time of like, we got a computer in our house, and there was a time before that where you just didn't have an online presence. It just didn't happen.
Yeah.
But now everyone that's born is basically like given an iPad straight out the womb, and they're like, you know, you can be online. And I feel like this process of like AI being introduced in like deep fakes and really that are super convincing is almost going to get like scarier for people.
You think so?
Like being potentially like,
I think it's beautiful. I think the TikTok algorithm is the most beautiful thing in the world. My For You page is incredible. I think that AI is such an amazing technology. I'm early adopter of Neuralink for sure.
Would you be
100%.
cool? Would you be cool if someone like made a video of you that looked like you and was saying things like you said in your tweets, and people are like, "Oh, fuck Cooper"?
Yeah, hell yeah. I'm cool with that.
You're cool with it?
Yeah.
Why?
It's not me.
But people would believe it.
Sure, people are going to believe whatever they want to believe, but I don't know. It's like if someone wants to use your likeness to create a story or propaganda about you, any press is good press at the end of the day. And I mean, it's not like it's in my control. And I feel like if that was something that would actually be happening, it means that I would be crushing it so hard that someone took the time to make deep fake AI videos of me to knock me down a peg because whatever I was doing merited someone doing that in the first place.
So what's your advice to people then for like people that to not get in a situation that you did? Do you have any advice, or you just like don't tweet dumb shit?
Yeah, don't be a dumbass, basically. Just like check yourself when you're younger and make sure that you are being aware of like that your words have influence and action on other people. But like, I don't really have advice for people. I mean, I was just an idiot. You know what I mean? It's like I was 14 in high school, like doing this stuff. And I think that my advice would be like, yeah, just be aware that stuff's going to come back to you at the end of the day. And just be aware that like, if you do want to be controversial on the internet, which is basically what happened. You know, I was like provoking people with these like hustle culture tweets. It's like, just know that can have blowback in ways that you never imagined before. So cover your bases, I guess, would be a good thing, like Twitter advanced search.
All right, Coop. So you're from Philly.
Yeah.
And then but you're so LA to me.
Nice.
Why? You like that? No, it's such a bad, you should be the opposite. You should want to be Philly.
No.
Whatever. So,
go Birds.
Go Birds. I'm a big Eagles fan. Are you a Philly sports fan?
I don't think that Philly sports teams in the sports I like, basketball specifically, are building championship rosters. So yeah, I'm supportive, but like, I don't think they're gonna win a chip.
He only hops on trends.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, like, I just like, listen, when I'm like watching sports or anything in life, I just like sticking to the most excellent form of that craft. So like for basketball, someone's like the Warriors, the year when they were like 73-9, like that was so sick. Like you would watch those games and it's like, this is basketball at the highest level. It's like, look, Embiid's the guy. You know what I mean? Like I love Embiid. I was at a half court game-winning game in college when we beat Kansas and like stormed the court and everyone was like flipping off Embiid and stuff. Like there's a whole history to like Embiid and whatnot, but are they bringing a championship? No. But to your point about Philly versus LA, the reason I love LA is because that it allows you to be yourself in the fullest form, whatever that might be. You know, like whatever you want to do, be yourself, wear it out, show it out, try and, you know, be whoever you want to be. I think Philly's nice, but I just think that a lot of people hit a ceiling in Philadelphia. You know, I think a lot of people have low ceilings in terms of what they want to do. And I think as far as what that city has to offer, I think that there's specifically in the creative field, undeniably more opportunities when it comes to living in Los Angeles.
Yeah, like I agree. Obviously, Philly, the city is like capped at a certain, like you're not, I mean, it's just more difficult to scale in Philly. But I think the mindset's like a little bit more blue collar. And like that's where you came from. Even though you came through with like a great family and everything, it's like a little bit more blue collar.
Yeah.
You come to LA, everything is a lot more like, I would say even almost more on top of it than New York. And you're maybe one of the few people out there in the NFT space, I feel like that really reps it hard. Like in your circle, or is it like, because you're basically with all the artists and people.
Yeah.
Are you like the go-to NFT person at most of the events that they're meeting?
Yeah.
And there's no one else?
I wouldn't say there's no one else, but it's why I moved to LA. You know?
Yeah.
It's like I've been in this space for a long time. And at that point in time, I'd say it was like the middle of quarantine. I just started working for a project called Audius, crypto streaming platform. And I was like, I need to be around artists because I basically just started to see like Nifty Gateway was happening. And I saw all these artists starting to drop and they had no compass around them. And mind you, at that point, to my point about credibility and reputation, I was coming from ICO, DeFi, DAOs. There's lots of do's and don'ts that are just like unspoken cultural norms to how to navigate this space. And I felt very confident that I could navigate someone in the space and make sure that they did it in a way that they were able to build credibility. And when I saw these people, so they were dropping these collections that just like, it was clear they had no compass of where to go. I was like, yo, like, I want to be that guy. I want to be the person that someone texts to be like, hey, is this a good or a bad idea? And be the person that's like, yo, what should I do to actually like build respect in this space and connect the dots? And so even in LA, like my favorite thing to do was like, there'd be a huge crypto party or event happening. And I would bring with me like an artist or an influencer or a creator who was like looking at it in the space and I would like connect the dots. And I think to your point earlier about like, what is something that makes me special? I think that I'm really good at connecting dots as far as like putting people in the same room that I think will get along well and just like opening opportunity for people to collaborate in a way that would never happen otherwise.
Were people, when you, in the early days before things were really popping off, were people being like, nah, this is like not cool. Like this doesn't scale. I don't really want to put my art here. I don't want to put my music here. I'm not interested. Or did they get it? Like, what do you say to them to kind of convince them like, hey, you should do your project this way? Or are they already interested and then you get them in?
They were interested during the bull market. You know, I think everyone saw that it was valuable to be in that space because there was a lot of money to be made. I'd say these days it's a lot harder to convince people as to why they should do it. I'd say at that point in time, it was much more about helping to give feedback on the strategy much more than convincing them to do it in the first place. It's like, I wasn't going to people and being like, yo, like you should do a Nifty Gateway drop. Like people are like, I have a Nifty Gateway drop. Like, how should I do it? You know? And then I'm kind of like walking them back from there. Nowadays it's
for free. You were just giving free advice, free counsel, or you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. I mean, the way that I operate in the world is like, I think that friendships are more valuable than business relationships. And I'm just really cautious about when you cross that line because it's very much like a one-way street. You know, like the second that you take a percentage on something, you're always going to have that friendship at its core. But if it doesn't start from a place of being friends with someone first, it sets a very different mentality. And so now I'm in this interesting spot with music where I'm fucking boys with these artists. You know what I mean? Like these are my people. You know what I mean? Like I love these people down to like such a deep human level. But I'm also in this position now of being like, Web3 music is going to have a huge moment, and I need to be that person that helps to make that happen. And so I need to build a business around that. And so that's been kind of my current thinking in the last, let's call it 3 to 6 months, which is like, how do you honor the friendships that you have that you've worked so hard for? I worked so hard for these friendships, Aubrey. Like, this is the thing about NFTs that people don't understand is like, I've been in music for 10 years. You know, I would do fucking anything for these artists. I would write blog posts about them. I'd show up to every single show. I'd stream all their music. I would be sharing it to friends, like anything you could think of. And it's like, you cannot get on the radar of these guys.
Yeah.
But you buy an NFT. They see you buy the NFT because you buy it for a good amount of money, let's be honest.
Yeah.
And then they shoot you a text or a DM. And then I'm like, hey, like I actually got something to offer here, you know? And then I start to build a relationship with these people. And it's like, NFTs have allowed me to become friends with my favorite artists in ways that like, we don't talk about like only NFTs. It's like, I'm going to these artists' weddings or like they're sending me pictures of their babies and stuff like that, you know? And it's like, bro, that is the peak fan experience to every single sentiment. And so my goal with like everything I'm doing with relation to music is just like, allow people to have the experience that I had where you tried so fucking hard to see this artist and just tell them how important that their music was to you, to now being on like a first name text basis of like, yo, like, let's go get sushi.
Damn.
You know what I mean?
Who is an example of that?
I mean, there's a lot of examples I could think of it. I would say, you know, without doing too many like name reveals here, I guess, but
no, this is a name drop show. You can do it.
Sure. I mean, some of my favorite artists that I've met through NFTs just off the top, I would say would be, Son Hello, who's an extremely close friend of mine now. You know, he's an amazing artist that just sold out Red Rocks. Illenium, who's one of my favorite artists in the world. You know, I got invited to his wedding. Tycho, who's like top 2-3 artists of all time for me, you know, on a very close personal basis with him. You know, Post Malone, going to his release party and stuff like that. You know, and then even stepping outside of like the artist circle, it's like, even Logan Paul, right? Like that's my fucking guy now. You know what I mean? And like, I know that there's a lot we could talk about on that subject, but I think he's fucking incredible. And it's been so nice just being able to like have a relationship with someone that has the impact of that level. And I don't think that would have happened without NFTs.
So Logan got canceled.
Yeah. But when does Logan not get canceled? He's chilling.
What do you think about that? About his NFT? Did you watch those?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, fuck yeah. We were talking every single day about that. I was like in active communication with him, thinking about a strategy on how to respond to that.
Did you watch the CoffeeZilla videos?
No, I didn't.
So do you know what he's getting canceled for?
Yeah, of course. I had a terrible developer team. They rugged the shit out of the project. People lost money on it and it didn't deliver on its expectations. But here's how I view it. If you're someone with influence in this space and you try and do anything in Web3 right now, I think that that's worth commending. Because the larger you are as a creator, the more people want to take you down for that. And the more you try to get it right, the more likely you're going to get it right in the future. So if you look at objectively, someone like Logan's trajectory in the space from his first drop until now, he's getting better every time. It doesn't mean that he's perfect and he hasn't done it right every time. But also at the same time, this is the thing people don't understand about bigger creators in Web3. They have a lot of other shit going on. Like when Logan launches CryptoZoo, it's not like this is his main priority and focus in the world. Like this guy's doing a million things. And at the end of the day, it's like, people trying to do NFTs are just trying the same thing. It's like, you want to be cool, you want to be relevant, and you want to make a statement with it. And you want to show that you know how to play the game like everyone else. But does that mean that you're 24/7, like full-time developing like a game? It's like, no. Like it's just like one of many other things out there. And so I think a lot of that can be chalked up to the people you put around you. And the reality is you need to find a lot of different people to work with before you can find out who's competent in this world. And in that situation, sure, people like lost money, but how many fucking crypto projects have gone to zero? Like if you think about it,
80%, 90%.
90%. And if you want to zoom in on one specific creator and be like, this person represents what's wrong with the space, it's like, bro.
But it's like, it's a little bit different though. Like I mean, I would say, and I don't even want to go into this, but we can go into it a little bit, I guess. I just think that if you have as much money as someone like Logan, you should have a better due diligence team. You should probably have, you can, like a lot of these crypto projects that go to zero, they're pretty bootstrapped.
Right.
Yeah. It's like, they're kind of expected to go to zero. But there's different expectations when you have had successful, and like, this isn't your first even rodeo. You've tried a few different things, and then just to go dark on a community, like, I think communication is like the biggest thing.
Totally.
To just not get back to people, your own fans. And you talk about like someone like you who, you know, buys the NFT of one of your favorite artists, like shows up and supports. That's all those people. Mm-hmm. Those are all those people that were doing CryptoZoo. They were like, fuck yeah, I'm going to show up. And then they do it. And then it's like, dude, this guy that I really am like a huge fan of, like, let me down. And that's a bad experience.
I think it's unfortunate that he has to be the sole figure of that, because there was a lot of people involved in that organization. I think that he's going to take the blunt of it.
Crypto lord dude, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was going to say. Set the stage here. It's like everyone says that they're a fucking expert in the space. You know what I mean? It's so annoying. Like, this is why I wanted to move to LA, is because these people are not good people. And they're not experts. They actually have no clue what the fuck they're doing. They know how to get people to buy into an ICO and then like sell the top. Like, that's their expertise.
Yeah.
But, like, do they know how to actually build a real working gaming company? No, because that is the hardest thing to do in the world. And so if you're someone coming into the space and you're trying to build a team around you, what does due diligence look like when you know no one? You know what I mean? And you're just going based off of like your close personal connections that are using their best judgment to hire someone. It's like, this is why you need experience, and you need to fail many times to get to the point where you have the most competent people around you. Because I think it's unrealistic to expect someone to come in and within their first attempt or two have like a solid all-star dev team that has like experience, credibility, and is like crushing it. I'm not trying to like say that like there's nothing to blame there. Obviously there's a lot of stuff that could have gone better, but what I'm highlighting is that in this next chapter of Web3, 2025, 2026, all of the creators who are giving this shit the time of day from 21, 2022, still building, trying anything at all, they're going to be running laps around people, because there's people out there right now that are like, fuck NFTs. This stuff's all scam. It's all going to zero. Such an NGMI take to be a creator on the internet that has a community and not be thinking about how Web3 can unlock new capital formation events and new opportunities to build community. It's like, I am such a strong believer in investing in creators. I think they're some of the most valuable and important people in the world. And to try and just like write off all of Web3 because of crypto zoo is like, bro, open your mind.
I mean, that's so bold, dude. Like, no one's writing off the entire crypto industry because of Logan.
Yeah, they are. 100%,
Are they?
1,000%. You know how many times in LA, I'm at a concert this last Friday in LA, and I'm talking about, yeah, why is your album not coming out on sound? I'm like, I don't know about NFTs, man. Did you see Crypto Zoo? That's happened like 10 times to me, where people like see things like that and they just use that as their reference point on the NFT space as a whole. And I'm like, bro. Like,
well, actually, I think that's a better argument for like why the stakes are higher. If you're like a big celebrity personality, whatever, that's doing a drop, like, you better make damn sure that your shit goes well, because like you can fuck up the whole, like, a lot for other people. And it's like, it's a burgeoning industry. People don't know where to put their capital. They're like excited. They're fans. They're pumped about artists. And then they follow someone who's been early, such as Logan, or Logan's been very early to a lot of different things, and get rugged by him, not just once, but multiple times. And it's like, okay, fuck up once. It's like, you know, like, fool me once, like, you know, shame on me, or shame on you. What is it? Shame on you. And then fuck me twice, shame on me. Like, I trusted this guy multiple times, and yeah, like that doesn't feel good.
It doesn't feel good.
And like, not paying people. I think he didn't pay a lot of people.
There's a lot of tea here, but let's get down to business.
There's people that are owed money.
Let's get down to business at the end of the day for a second. If you're a creator that's doing anything in Web3 right now, your fans are going to hate you. I see this from all of the artists that I work with. If you post, hey, I'm doing an NFT, your comments are going to be flooded with saying, fuck you, this sucks, this is a scam, and this is a rug. One way of doing this is to do nothing and to wait for a couple years until it gets better and people start to like it again. The other one is to actually put a flag in the sand and say, hey, I think that there's something here. I'm not going to like tell you need to do this to support me. It's just an added way to get involved in this community. But I think we need to have so much more respect for the creators that do have a following that are currently working in this space right now, because that is the hardest thing to do at the moment, is to take that leap of faith and trust that this is going to be valuable again, when 90% of the world thinks that all of this is going to zero.
But why are they making the leap? Some say because they actually believe in it. Some because, like you said, you talk to people who are here for the long haul, who really are interested in it. And then there's definitely that group of people who are just like, let's make some money quick, which is also retail too. It's not, I'm not saying like creators are different than retail. There are people who are like, this is advantageous to do. Yeah. Right? Yeah. It's why people took Super Bowl sponsorship money. It's why people were taking money from FTX. So it's like, it's not to be naive that there isn't just money to gain and people aren't just here for the tech. Like,
I think it's different now.
It's different now.
Yeah, as in the last like 3 to 6 months.
Well, obviously, because there's no money to be made.
Exactly. So I think that people are genuinely trusting that there's a culture that's worth paying attention to here. And I think especially when it comes to music specifically, artists aren't making 250 grand on Nifty Gateway anymore. You know, you can't go do an NFT drop where you make $1 million anymore. So if you're going to put yourself out there, it's basically trusting that this sector has something valuable here. I don't think anyone knows exactly what it is yet, but you're saying, hey, I trust that there is going to be a future here. And by me committing to doing this now, I'm basically signing up to be involved in that journey for whatever happens over the course of the next couple of years.
But then what happens when the next bull comes back? Then it just keeps going. Like, I almost feel like it can't operate on cycles. Like, when does it finally flatten out where people aren't having to like go up and down and feel like it's bust and, you know, burn, and like it's just too cyclical for it to be stable almost sometimes, I think.
I agree with that, but the cycles are kind of fire.
I would say the cycles in the NFT space are different. They're not really correlated to the markets. Like, there was certain NFT like hype. I mean, even if you remember, I can't even remember the years because they're all like merging together, but it kind of dialed out. I remember like in the spring, and then came back in the summer, fall, and then went back down. It was almost like mini cycles within the last bull market.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah. I mean, if you even look at DeFi summer, right?
Yeah,
ETH was $100. ETH went up to $400, and everyone was freaking out because ETH was at $400, and then it crashed back down to $80, and MakerDAO almost broke down.
Yeah.
But like DeFi summer was the shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that was so fun, and these farming games were incredible. Did anyone know about it? No, but it's just like, you just got to be here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, to your point about like, why would someone be here today? It's like a next DeFi summer could happen anytime. You know, like if someone finds that playbook, the playbook is always going to change. That's the one thing that's consistent about Web3 and life in general. The playbook is always going to change. And so it's like, you can be locked in a certain way of like 10,000 PFP collections are going to like make or break society. But it's like, no, like there's learnings from that are going to inform the next thing. And if you stay on the sideline and you don't pay attention to what's next, by the time the next thing comes up, you're going to be playing catch up because everyone's going to have that shit locked in.
It's so hard to explain that to people though, that are like, I have friends like that. You know, I've been in this space as long as you have, and it's like, you look like a genius, you know, when everything's going well, of course. And then when things are down, people are like, I don't understand what you're doing or what you're building.
Yeah.
And has that been disorienting to you and your identity? Like, you were like very sought after in council, but then like, it's not as in demand. Do you feel like that was tough for you to be like, oh, Web3 is not shit anymore. Like, NFTs aren't doing anything. Like, that's whack. Like, I don't want to talk about that. And like, people kind of making fun of it.
I've never felt more in demand in my life. And I think that the reason for that, is because I feel like I've truly found my purpose in a way that I've never had before. Like during NFT bull market, it's like I was trading Bored Apes and CryptoPunks and PFPs. And it's like, that's cool. But like, that wasn't my purpose in life, you know?
Yeah.
Like, music is my fucking purpose. Like, I've been doing this shit way before Web3.
Yeah.
So when it comes to like the conversations I'm having every day and the people that I'm talking to, it's a lot smaller segment and a lot smaller bubble. But the impact I'm having on these people's lives is incredible. Like, there's kids moving out to LA because they're selling music NFTs. You know, there's artists that are like having a career moment because of the fact that they did a drop on sound. And like, those things are so hard to explain in the bigger picture, but I think it is challenging to recognize that NFTs are broadly thought of as being dead, but I just smile at it because I'm like, my world's chilling over here. You know what I mean? And it's like, look, like, I understand that this isn't interesting and easy to follow right now, but I can promise you that in 2 years, 2025 market, next bull market's coming back, baby.
You don't think 2024?
I think 2024 is when we start to see a little of this, you know, a little maybe DeFi summer moment, but 2025, it's fucking go time.
Damn. Okay, so what has your like dating life changed? You said you're in demand. Do you feel like your relationship life is in demand? Has it been like weird for you to date in LA? Because I feel like talking to an LA girl, I'd be like, what? Sorry, that's my Valley Girl impersonation of like, what? NFTs? Like, that's cool kind of vibe. Or are they cool and they're chill and they're like, I like artists. Like, that's sick. Like, I love what you do.
I mean, I just sound arrogant saying it like this, but I feel like I've never been more in demand, you know? And I think it has a lot less to do with like if NFTs are up or down. It's just like, I'm just on my shit right now. You know what I mean? Like, I feel great. Like, life's good. I mean, to me, break that apart. I'm at the point in my life where I'm going into a relationship thinking that this could possibly lead to a marriage at some point in the future. You know, I'm not like fucking around as much anymore. And like, if I go
You're
on.
so young though.
About to be 28.
Okay, not really.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like I'm not really trying to go on dates just to like see girls and hook up with them because they're hot anymore. Like, that was fun. And like during bull market, like, yeah, like it was popping. You know what I mean? Like, we're traveling the world, going to conferences.
Were you hooking
like,
up with a lot of girls during the bull market?
No comment. Yeah. I would say that, you know, look, here's the thing. I moved to LA, coming out of college. I'm broke as fuck. I'm coming out of college, right? Going and traveling the world. I'm sleeping on fucking $5 cots in Thailand and stuff like that. And I'm like, I think I'm cool, but like I'm doing fine, but it's not like I'm crushing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then I go live back at home with my parents for a year, right? And this is like, yo, like you're not getting any ass. You're living at your parents' house. I'm like trying to figure out how to go to the city.
Like I live with my parents. You tell them that, and
some girls, yeah, like the ones that I'm like close with for sure. But like if I'm on like at that point I was on dating apps, I was like definitely not telling people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I moved to LA, and then it's like crypto's popping off, and things start to go well. That's when I start feeling myself. I mean, on some real shit, it's like the confidence you have in yourself, I think correlates so much to like your ability to date in this world, you know, and I think people expect things to just like come to them naturally, but like you need to assert to the world, like I'm someone to be desired and sought after because I have a life that's valuable and I have a foundation for myself that's worth sharing in. So when I got to LA, you know, I'm going to give a lot of credit to my friend Grady here, the fucking guy, but like Grady put me on game in LA. You know what I mean? He started bringing me out to all of these amazing events, parties. I started meeting all these like influencers, models, photographers, etc. And I just saw, I was like, yo, these people are hot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, it's fun to be in that mix.
But were you like, I don't know what to say. Like you see, you know, being in LA, I feel like every time I'm in LA, I'm like, there's always some crazy shit that happens to me out there. And it's always actually more insane than anything happens in New York. Were you ever like, oh my God, that's someone I know and I can't talk to them, or that girl's too hot, like I can't go over and talk to her when you first got there?
At the very beginning, but then I started getting the mindset of I just go up to that person every time. Like when I go to a party and I see like Kid Cudi or Jaden Smith's actually a good friend of mine now. Like I saw him at a party the first time. I went up, I was like, such a big fan of your music. Like I love your album. I know you love Tycho. That's a friend of mine. I put Jaden and Tycho on text, and like, then we just start like having mutual friends. Then someone's like, yo, Jaden got you a table at Nobu. And like, you know, it pulls up and stuff like that. Or like at Coachella, like met the Disclosure set and he like comes up to me and is like, Coop, it's good to see you and stuff like that. It's like, you can be afraid of the culture of like being surrounded by celebrity, or you can realize that these are just regular fucking people at the end of the day. You know, and the biggest thing for me to work through, and this is something that I got in one of my recent relationships, is like, don't put people on a pedestal. You know, like even if you're a huge fan of them, they're just people at the end of the day. And the more that I work with creators and people of influence, people have two personalities. One is who they are when they're at home, and one is who they are when they're on stage. And if you go up to someone, you talk to them like they're on stage and you're like fanboying and whatnot, they just go into a different place where they're just like, oh, thank you so much. Like, I really appreciate it. Oh my God, thank you so much. Thank you so much. You're not talking to them as a person. You're talking to them as their personality. And so I think for me, it's like learning how to separate those two and recognizing that these are just people at the end of the day. Like even texting these people, like early on in my career, I'd be like, super long email. Hello, like I can help you out in X, Y, and Z way. Like, please. And now I'm just like, you send someone a text. You're like, yo, you want to have a FaceTime in like 10 minutes? Artists, for the most part, don't have schedules. You know, they're just fucking kids. You know what I mean? Like, just go and cold plunge at 3:00 in the afternoon. Like, no fucks in the world, you know? So, I mean, I don't know. Let's take it all back here for a second.
To dating. To talking to really hot models and going up to them.
Yeah, but it's not about that. I mean, I would say that that opportunity presented itself a lot in LA, and I'm very thankful because I have a lot of those friends in my life right now. But like, I'm not going out looking to like hook up with people. You know, I'm not like going to parties and being like, I'm trying to like meet the hottest girl and like, you know.
What are you attracted to?
People wanting to be the best form of themselves, like really taking themselves seriously, being really thoughtful about like what they want out of their life and the people that they surround themselves with. What I find attractive is like, I have a purpose in this world and I want to go and achieve that purpose. And I'm doing that with people that also empower me. Because you can be physically attractive, but like if you don't have like a direction that you're headed in, I'm not saying you need to have it figured out, but it's just like, are you on a path where there's something that can come out of this that you're really proud of? Most people just like aren't that like happy about who they are or who they are in the world. And I think what I find attractive is people that are just like very present and able to just recognize that you make the best of any moment, you know? And like what's hot is not actually like how you look physically. It's kind of like your mental and your like spiritual awareness of yourself and just being like good energy. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, most people don't love themselves. But I feel like in LA, did you find that, I feel like LA has a little bit of that vapidness. And I'm just like trying to challenge some of your things because I feel like it is like going there to find people who are trying to better themselves, which there's a handful, but there's a lot of people that are just there to be like kind of latch on to other people's success. They don't really have like an identity of themselves, or a little lost. They're just there for clout.
I haven't found that to be the case.
Like
I really haven't found that to be the case.
You don't think there's clout chasing in LA?
Yeah, I just don't surround myself with it.
Yeah, but you see it.
Yeah, but like you don't have to pay attention to it. You know what I mean? It's like I surround myself with people who share similar visions as myself, you know, and I surround myself with people who are great at what they do. And my friends are great at what they do. So they hang out with the same people. So it's like we're not around clout chasers. You know what I mean? Like people don't penetrate. And I also want to caveat here that like my dating life is as much about being in crypto as it is being in LA. You know what I mean? Like we go to these conferences all around the year, all around the world. There's hot people in crypto too. You know what I mean? It's not like it's just
so you
like
date
LA.
in the industry?
I have, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you think that's a good idea?
I don't really care.
It just has to be the right person.
Yeah. I think that's all that matters.
And so have you dated people that you feel like have tried to take advantage of your success?
I think my friends would tell me that. I don't look at it that way.
Why not?
Look, I mean, I'm a very given person. I'm a very all-in person. I want the person that I'm with to be as successful as possible. I'm gonna put it all on the line. You know, like if we're together, like I'm gonna go to bat for you in the highest form possible. And is that gonna be the best outcome all the time? Probably not, but I wouldn't have that shit any other way. So like if you're with me, like I'm taking you out to as many events as I can, introducing you to all the people I know, putting you on game and whatever the fuck you're working on. And I'm gonna get burned from that, sure, but like I love that shit. You know what I mean? Like I get a lot out of like watching someone elevate in their life and their career. And even if it sets me down a few notches because it doesn't work out, it's like, that's life. You know, every relationship I've been has gotten progressively better. And like, I know I'm building towards something that's so beautiful and special that like, I would not change a single thing about how I've done any of these relationships in the past. And I'm super excited to see what comes in the future from it.
Do you feel like you have to protect your friends are just trying to protect you from, you know, being too nice? Would you call yourself a nice guy?
Yeah, I think that I used to be a lot nicer of a guy. You know, I think these days I don't tolerate as much. I think like during bull markets, like if there was a girl that I had a crush on, I'd just like go to Rodeo and just be like, buy whatever the fuck you want. You know, shit's hot.
Dude, that's like a Pretty Woman. Like that's every girl's dream. I don't think
it's every girl's dream. I don't think it's every girl's dream. I want to
like a one-time thing, like a shopping spree is kind of fun.
It's fun, but also this is something that I've been learning about. What I find attractive in a life partner is I like really quality things. You know, when I go and shop, I buy cashmere because it's the best fabric in the world. I don't buy it because it's flashy. You know what I mean? Like there was a point in time when I was like buying to be flashy, but like
Coop, I'm gonna stop you there. You're always dripped out in Dior. Like you are the most dripped out. Dior should pay you.
I'm not at that level yet.
They should pay you for like the advertisement that you brought in. Everyone knows that you wear Dior.
Yeah, but it's an incredible brand, and they'd have such an amazing way of presenting themselves to the world that I feel more powerful and confident when I wear it. You know?
All right.
And so it's like, that's just me, but that doesn't mean that other people want that. And I've been in relationships where the other person doesn't really value those kind of things, you know? And I've had situations where like, we're 50 minutes in the podcast. I don't care about talking about this shit. Friends with Diplo, right?
Yeah.
Diplo's a guy who's very controversial.
Yeah.
Diplo has a lot of people that take advantage of him. So it's Diplo's birthday. What do I think would be a cool thing to do? I want to buy Diplo a fucking sweater from Dior, you know? I go to Dior and I buy this guy a sweatshirt and my partner's like, yo, you shouldn't be doing that. Like, don't fucking buy Diplo a birthday present. You don't need to do that. And there's a ton of merit in that. And I fucking love that person said that to me, honestly.
Yeah.
Like that really like gut checked me in a good way. But I go to fucking Diplo's birthday party and I bring him this present. I'm the only person who brought him a present to his birthday party. And like he gets this fucking present and he's opening it on his Instagram story and shit. And he's fired up. He tags me in the post and it's like, yo, like you can look at that objectively and be like, this is clout chasing or something. But the way I see it is like, the higher you get in life, the more people want to take advantage of you. And the less likely it is that someone's going to do a nice thing for you just to do a nice thing. That I'm like, I fuck with Dior heavy. You know what I mean? And like, this is something that's special to me. And if I can share that moment with someone who also happens to be a cultural influence, this guy's cool. Like he introduced me at the party. He's like, this is Cooper, the only cool guy I know in crypto, you know? And like, he means that shit authentically. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, I take a lot of pride in that stuff. Like you can look at that from a high level and be like, oh, Cooper's just trying to be on some clout shit. But it's like, bro, like, friends, you know what I mean? Like, I just want to be friends with these people. I want these people to know that I'm gonna be there for them in a way that they can like trust and respect. I don't think that happens from just like believing it happens. Like you gotta fucking, I try not to force things at this point in life anymore, but at the same time, like there's people in this world, you gotta make shit happen. You know what I mean? Like I don't try and force.
You actually do though. Cause I remember we were in Miami and Diplo had just done a set and we were hanging out and you were like, what's up? And like, I think that's maybe one of the second time you guys had met, like this incident that you're talking about. It was like his birthday was later.
Yeah.
But like you wait and like you put your time in to make sure you can make a connection with somebody.
Those 5-minute windows after an artist set are magic.
Yeah.
Like there's literally a 5-minute window before an artist is going on stage and right after they get off where you have 60 seconds to be present and shake that person's hand and say, hey, I came to support you here. And I think that's one of my like biggest skill sets in music is I will do that for as many artists as humanly possible. Like I will be at that show and then right before you walk on stage, shake that person's hand, say, congratulations, I'm here to support you. And those small things, especially in LA, people don't show up for people like that in LA. Like they'll be like, you know, they'll post on their story, I'll send you a text or something like that. But physically being there when there's 10 shows happening every given night in LA, be like, no, I'm here for you. Like I fuck with your career and I support you a lot. It goes a really, really long way.
There's one thing I've always said about you, like when you're not around, is like Cooper's made the best intros that I've ever had in crypto. Like hands down, all the people that you've introduced me to, not only are they like enthusiastic about meeting and it's a solid connection, we've like become friends separately throughout that. And it's like, it's a testament to you and really the commitment you have to like loyalty of your friendships,
right?
And showing up and like putting in the work for this. And I actually like love what you said. It's so true. Like Diplo, who you think would be like getting like tons of gifts and shit. A lot of people are there just like out for themselves, like trying to be like, oh, I'm at Diplo's party. Like, this is sick. Like, what can I get out of this? Like, you know, kind of cloud chasing. The fact that you like the only person that brought him a present is like shocking, but also not.
I'm going to say that it was the only person who brought him a present that early in the night. I'm not going to go on record and say I'm the only person who got
That was
Diplo.
The only present he ever got for any birthday. No.
But I will say that it was very intentional of me, you know, and I think that... And
I saw it on his story. I was like, what the hell?
I didn't ask him to do that.
I know. No, it was just funny. I was like, this is random.
But here's the thing. I take these... I really, really value these relationships, especially with people that are very successful in life. Is like you get finite time with these people and they have very, very small circles. You know, the more that I hang out with people that are successful in life, it's like their close friend group is like 5 people. I'm starting to realize this about myself. It's like, yo, I don't have time to be friends with 100 people because like the reality is not a lot of those people can add to your life at the level that you want to go to. It's like I have a very specific vision and a focus where I want to be the next 2, 3, 5 years. I'm talking to these people every day. If you're not on my wavelength, like it's no beef, but like I got shit to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, especially in LA right now, like maybe tying it all together for wrapping up this podcast, it's like people know me as the music NFT guy. What does that even mean? Right? It's like, I believe there's going to be a generation of artists that are going to fucking crush it with Web3. And I need people to be delusional about the fact that that is going to happen, that people are going to have hit records, that we're going to see superstars coming out of this. And this isn't like a NFTs are cool type shit. It's like, nah, like I'm going to be a superstar. And the reason I'm going to do that is because I'm selling NFTs. And like that segment is so small. But when you surround yourself with people that see that shit, you know, Daniel Allen, great example of this, the artist that I do the most work with is like, this guy sees himself like that, you know? And there's this great J. Cole interview recently where he's like, see yourself at the highest level possible. He's like, there's people that want to be in the NBA, they never touch the court. And then you have LeBron James. It's like the way that LeBron thinks is very different from someone who's just riding the bench in the NBA. And I'm delusional in the sense that I think I can be the LeBron James of music NFTs and music more broadly. But like, fuck it. Why not? You know what I mean? What other way is there to live other than just believe that you can be the biggest and best version of yourself possible?
That honestly though, the fact that you believe it, like no one's going to believe it unless you believe it. And if you're delusional, then people are like, fuck yeah, I'm in.
Yeah.
Where do I send my money? Where do I buy the NFT? Where do I support? How do I show up for you?
Because this is where it starts to get really powerful, is that people start to place their trust in you, you know, and especially now with the artists that I'm working with, like artists really, really trust me in terms of how to navigate the space and what to do, where to drop, who to talk to, the intros that I make. I've earned that trust, you know, and even if you go back to our earlier conversation about getting canceled and whatnot, it's not going to falter the fact that like I'm going to go to bat every single day from this stuff, you know, and people can have an opinion of me online and you can see in the bottom of an article about me on Google that I said some shit in 2014, but it's like, look around at the people that I'm building with and you ask them about the impact they have on their lives. And I think it's undeniably going to be extremely positive.
Dude, you're honestly like magical to be around, like only good vibes. I'm happy that you haven't been fully canceled. Like I'm glad that there's been acceptance back into like the Web3 space. Like you're obviously here in NFT NYC. Like I'm just, you know, I'm like one of your biggest supporters. And I just, you know, I guess on the cancellation thing, like, do you think, just to tie that up, do you think people are going, like cancel culture has been like, it was just like, I guess a time in history that we were doing that and it won't continue? Or do you think this is only going to get worse for people?
I think it's going to get worse. And I think that you need to be prepared to deal with it the bigger that you get. Because like I said before, investing in creators is only going to get more popular. People are going to start to have financial interest in the creators that they know and love. And I think that's going to be even more and more important in the future. Like if there's a coin or a stock about a creator and you get canceled, like your stock's going to plummet, you know, and like there's levels to this shit.
Yeah.
But the way I view life is it's basically just a game of acquiring mass. It's like how much like energy, attention, money, capital can you put around yourself? I don't shy away from any of those things, you know, like putting money into culture, investing in creators, like markets for songs and tweets and blogs and whatnot. It's like people just want to spend money on what they know and love, and that's going to get a lot trickier and hairier. But like that just means as civilization, we're advancing because we're tying things together and fusing it, and it's just building towards our greater purpose. So bring it on. You know,
Yes.
cancel culture is going to get a lot worse, but I'm here for it.
You're like, I'm ready to get canceled again.
There's people around me who are saying that they're ready to get canceled. I'm like, no, you're not. You're not ready for that shit. That is
They're
not
ready
the
to
way.
get canceled?
On some joke shit, yeah. But
Oh,
they're just like,
oh.
I'm ready for this shit.
Yeah.
But I will say, to set the scene a little bit here, NFT NYC 2023,
Yeah.
bottom of a bear market. We
Yeah.
talked a lot about me. What's your perspective on how everything's shaping up these days?
How I feel about it, like the conference and just in general.
Take me out of the conference specifically. Talk to me about what it feels like to be building a career in Web3 at the bottom of a bear market.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely rough. Like, candidly, it's a challenge because the audience is less interested. And to say that it's not correlated with the market is just not true, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's also like a lot nicer, like the NFT Now Gala, right?
Yeah.
The year before, I think there was like a lot of hype, a lot of buzz. People are like excited, rightfully so. But I think now it's like just in every bear, and you've been in here for the bears, you really have to get in touch with yourself of like, am I here for the right reasons? What do I really believe in? And do I see this as the future? And if you can
Right.
answer those questions for yourself and you know, and you have the conviction to keep going, that's what makes or breaks you. And like
Right.
our wave, I guess, this last cycle where we kind of had more of like a platform, I think we wouldn't have done that if we weren't here in the last bear.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like you have
100%.
to put in that time. And then everyone is like, oh, wow, like crypto is just a get rich quick. No, bro. Like I put in years of my life into this industry and have been working with pretty much everyone who's touched anything.
Yep.
And develop those relationships and people can trust me. So like, I hope crypto, at least in Web3, evolves out of like, just feeling like a flash in the pan kind of feeling, you know, because I think that's the frustrating part when you get looped into that. Like this has staying power.
Yeah.
Like people want to like talk to their community. Like I mean, I would actually like to touch on music NFTs if you have time. Like
Absolutely.
Okay. Just because I think about artists that I like, and I'm like, dude, they don't have any idea. Maybe they kind of do have an idea of their like cult fans,
Right.
you know, but there's not really a good way to measure it besides like, I mean, Ticketmaster owned, you saw like the chaos that happened with like Taylor Swift Ticketmaster thing and bots, and you see like different artists being like, was it Maggie Rogers that was telling people to like come in person and to like buy the pre-sale tickets. And so it's like artists are like so frustrated about how to like get their fan, like to even communicate with their fans. And I want to hear, you know, for people who aren't familiar with music NFTs that are listening to this or watching this, like your take on it and why you think they're going to be so powerful in the next cycle.
It's very simple. If there's a song that you like, you can like it or add it to a playlist. If you want to have a deeper relationship, you buy an NFT of it. And I think why that's exciting is from a high level, it creates a market for that song. So you can buy and sell it, which you can't really do today. And then from a deeper level, you can join a group chat with other people that also like that song. And today those group chats are very small, 25, 50, 100 people. If you're in that group chat, your likelihood of saying hi to that artist are basically like 100%, which is kind of fucked up to say, but that's just like how early we are to it. And I think that for me, it's just like, if you're someone who's passionate about music, building a career around your creation and your taste is virtually impossible. You know, like I was coming out of school with a music business degree. I had no clue what I wanted to do. But now that I can go and just like buy songs on Sound and like sell those and make money and make a career off of that, so dope. It unlocks so many possibilities. And for artists, I think it's a net new revenue stream. This is how I pitch it to everyone. I say like, put your music on Spotify, just let me put it on Sound too. Why would you not do that? If you can just sell one edition and make $5 more, or you can connect with one more fan, like why would you not do that? And the answer typically is that, you know, there's a stigma around it. Like I don't want to have to force my fans to do this. On Sound, you don't have to buy the NFT to listen to the song. Like the song's on Spotify. You can go listen to it. It's just saying like, hey, like I want to invest in this song and in this artist. And that's kind of like the stepping stone, in my opinion, to like this greater investing in artist ecosystem. But, you know, you saw with Ticketmaster, you know, Avenged Sevenfold, all their NFT holders got to skip the line and get tickets to the show. All those integrations are going to get more built out. So I try not to trip too much about like, what is it that you can do today? Because frankly, you can't do a lot with it today. But I would say that if you look at this in like 3 to 5 years, I think that curators are going to be fucking killing it, you know, like independently of any platform. And I think that artists are going to have extremely deep and loyal fan bases. And especially from my music career, I was going to Pretty Light shows, Grizz shows, you know, like Lotus, STS9. These are people who live and breathe for these shows. Like they travel the country and go and see these artists. And I think that being able to build a digital reputation around the love that you have for a specific artist is something that we haven't ever really seen before, and something that I think that Web3 is uniquely enabled to help unlock.
And talk about Coop Records for a
Sure.
little bit. Yeah, you guys reached 10 million.
Should I give the master plan for this year?
Yeah.
In the last 5
yeah,
minutes
drop
of
it.
this?
Drop it, Coop.
So Coop Records is an early stage venture fund. It's a $10 million fund. We're investing in platforms, protocols, and artists. Deployed about 3 million of the 10 million so far. I really recently launched Invest in Music, which is a podcast and newsletter. Tagline is where fans become collectors. So teaching people how to go from being a fan of an artist to buying a song. And on the low, which I haven't announced yet, but I've been building like a Web3 label, let's call it, which is basically me getting a ton more music into the space. So I don't touch masters and publishing. I don't touch your Spotify income. I just go, yo, if you want to sell NFTs, bring your song to me, send me the cover art, send me the wave, and I'm going to put that shit in Web3 and I'm going to make you money by selling NFTs. And so if you look at it as a trifecta, it's like Coop Records is a fund. We're investing in early stage platforms. You have Invest in Music, which is a media company that's top of funnel, building a collector demographic. And then you have this Web3 label, which is putting more music into the ecosystem. And so those 3 pillars built together, that's why I'm here. You know, like I see it so clearly more than I've seen anything before. And for the next couple of years, I think you're going to hear the name Coop Records a lot more because I feel like we have a very good opportunity to make a very, very big impact in the years to come.
I'm so pumped for you, Coop.
Thank you.
I'm so pumped. Yeah. I'm so happy that you were able to come on the show. It's been like a show I've been wanting to do for so long.
Yeah.
And I feel like people don't know that we're such close friends.
Yeah.
And like talk all the time.
100%.
And so any way I can support, honestly, like I'm happy that you've been able to come on. And I appreciate that you like shared such personal details because not everyone would do that and confront a situation that's kind of uncomfortable to talk about.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it goes to your testament as a host, you know, and I'll just say, like, I appreciate you as a friend so much. Like, you've been there for me so much in, like, the most challenging and tough times. And just being, like, completely honest is, like, I know Obs has got my back. You know, like, if I'm going through something, if I'm getting canceled, if I get broken up with, like, whatever it might be, it's, like, you're just there for it. And the perspective that I really love about you is that you're very pragmatic about your response to it.
Yeah.
Like, you don't look at it from, like, what's best for me? How do you get the most out of a situation? Like, you just really taught me to just, like, respect and value my own time and energy and just be protective of that. And I think it really allows me to elevate. So I know so many people are thankful to have you in their life too. So it's an honor for me to be on this podcast. I remember you telling me about it when you got it started. You are absolutely killing it. And I am extremely excited about your future as well.
Coop, thanks so much.
You're welcome.
Appreciate you. All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll be back next time. Good luck and Godspeed.
Peace.